Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kristin, and if you're new here, this is a corner of the internet where I come at you every other week or so and share what I've been making. I do a lot of knitting, I do a lot of crochet, I do a lot of quilting. If you are multi-craftual, if you like making all the things, you are in a good place. Gather around, grab a cup of something, and let's get into things. Man, I nailed it. I memorized it. Anyway, I've got a lot of stuff to share with you this week that I'm very excited about. First of all, a couple of housekeeping notes. Well, I don't know, is it really housekeeping notes? It's more shop news, if you will. If you are not familiar, I am the dyer behind Voolenvine yarns. I hand dye yarn for a living. It is my full-time job, and by the time you're watching this, it will have already been announced. Helen Stewart, the wonderful and amazing designer behind Curious Handmade, reached out to me a couple months ago asking if I would be interested in collaborating with her on a mystery knit along. And guys, I love Helen Stewart. I love all of her patterns. I'm very apprehensive to sign up to any mystery knit along just because I want to know what I'm getting myself into, but because I've participated in a few of her mystery knit alongs and each time I have never been disappointed. And I actually dyed yarn for one of those mystery knit alongs, and it was a really wonderful experience that when she came back and asked if I'd be interested in doing it again this year, it was an instant yes. So I'm really excited to announce that yes, if you follow Helen on Instagram or sign up to her newsletter, you might have heard that she is doing another mystery knit along. It is called the 24 Birds Mystery Knit Along. And if you don't know what a mystery knit along is, it's a knit along where you don't know what the finished object is going to look like. You may have an idea of the aesthetic because you're familiar with the designer's patterns, but essentially what a mystery knit along is that you don't get the full pattern up front. The pattern is released in clues, usually every week or so. And you knit along as each clue is released, and by the end you have a surprise finished object, usually a shawl. And again, this is where I kind of teeter on the mystery part of things, where you may like it and you may not like it. You may be kind of meh about it. But knowing it's Helen Stewart, I know I'm absolutely going to love the finished object. So that is no mystery. The journey will be a mystery, but the overall vibe won't be. So at least there's that. But I'm really excited to share with you the colors that I dyed for this mystery knit along. Depending when this episode goes live, the shop update is on Saturday, February 24th at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So if this episode went up before then, you might still be able to get your hands on one of these kits. But there are going to be two color palette options that you can choose from, but let me show you the colorways all together. So these are the 5 colorways that I dyed, and I'm going to be dividing them up into 2 separate colorway palettes. But here we have, let me see, this one is Marigold. It's a really lovely rich speckled caramel. And then we have, this one is Pimpernel, which is kind of like a really beautiful sage with sage teal speckles and golden speckles and brown splotches. There's that, and then there's Gilded Lily, which I really like. It's, you know, a really beautiful neutral, almost like parchment color with golden speckles and more brown splotches. Just to add, I don't know, I like the idea of just little subtle speckles with kind of like these bold splotches in between. It really kind of gives texture to when you're knitting with it. It's really fun. And this one is just simply called Sage, as the name suggests. Just a really beautiful light shaded sage with teal speckles. You may have already seen this colorway in my shop, but this is Willow. Just a really super saturated teal with very, very subtle speckles. You almost can't see the speckles, but they're there. Yeah, I really like that. So one color palette that you will be able to choose from is, let me see, this one right here. There we go. So there's this one, which is really lovely. And then there will be this one. So yeah. Me personally, I love both, but I think when I participate in the mystery knit along, I'm going to be using this color palette. And right now these kits are only dyed on my new Vo base, which is a 100% superwash merino single ply fingering weight yarn. So that's my big exciting news for the week. I am super excited for this mystery knit along. I hope you guys are too. If you are interested in purchasing one of my yarn kits, just go to voolenvineyarns.com. That's where you can purchase them, and do sign up for my newsletter. if you do miss out on a kit and you want to be looped in as to when you can get your hands on one in the future, sign up for my newsletter because I send one out every week letting you guys know what to expect in every shop update. And also sign up for Helen's newsletter and be sure to check out her Instagram as well to find out more about the MCAL. I will leave links in the description box below where you can find out all the details and all that good stuff. But yay, yes, Mystery Knitalong. Very, very, very excited. Okay, all right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this episode because I've got some finished objects to share with you. I know. It's been forever and a day. It feels like forever and a day since I've had a finished object to share with you, but here we are. Today's the day. The first finished object that I have to share with you is, so you ready for it? My Carillon Shawl. It is done. It is finished. It is beautiful. I love it so much, and I completely forgot to weave in an end. I just realized, but we'll get to that later. She's blocked. I still have to photograph her, but you know, we'll get to that at some point today. I cast this on a month ago. I'm very surprised how quickly I was able to get this off the needles. But this is a wonderful, beautiful pattern by Leela Frankcombe. It's obviously a triangular shawl that incorporates both lace and brioche knitting, 2-color brioche and single color. And yeah, it's, you know, knitting this, I realized it had been a while since I've knit both lace and brioche. For some reason, I've just been on a stockinette kick, and yeah, I haven't really been, you know, dipping into the challenging knitting projects, but it was just kind of like a breath of fresh air to kind of like revisit these types of knitting techniques and made me realize how much I miss it. But at the same time, I struggled. I'm not gonna lie. I struggled with this because it had been a while since I've knit brioche and lace, and usually the types of lace that I enjoy knitting are the ones that are very intuitive, that, you know, you can look at the repeat and memorize it instantly and just go. You don't have to constantly refer to the chart, which is, again, why I really love Helen Stewart's patterns. A lot of her patterns are very much like that. This one, though, I mean, again, nothing wrong with the pattern. It is beautiful, very well written, but the lace that is included in this pattern is kind of like an all hands on deck type of lace pattern where you do have to pay attention to what your hands are doing, what the chart says. It's not as intuitive, if that makes sense. So not so much autopilot, but I will say once you get to the brioche part, that part, which is most of the shawl, it is very autopilot. But I think, as I mentioned in the last episode, when it came to knitting the brioche part, there were times when I stopped mid-row, I took a break and then came back to it and then didn't realize that I was knitting in the opposite direction, because with brioche knitting, you are knitting one row with one color, shifting your stitches back to the other end of the needle, and then knitting the same row with the other color. So if you do take a break from knitting mid-row, you run the risk of forgetting which side you're knitting on and which direction. Anyway, that happened to me a couple of times and I had to rip back several times, and there were times when I just wanted to throw this in the corner and make it think about what it did, but I persevered and, you know, we made it to the finish line. The lace, you know, there are a couple of mistakes, you know, but we're not going to point those out because, you know, it's like, where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? You really have to look for the mistakes in this, but, you know, anyway. So yeah, let me put it on so you can see what it looks like in action. The yarn is My Hand Dyed Yarns, Voolenvine yarns. I apologize if my microphone gets a little muffled, but here we go. So, oh guys, it is so nice, so warm, so cozy. Yes, the yarn is My Hand Dyed Yarns, Voolenvine yarns on my Smitten DK base. In 2 colorways, my Rochester, which is this lovely brown right here. It's a warm, light sable brown with peachy undertones, very much inspired by Jane Eyre, one of my favorite novels of all time. And then this variegated, rainbowy, pastel-y color right here is opal. And look at that. All right, I'm gonna wear it like this because I have a feeling the other way I was muffling my microphone, but guys, yeah, it is a schlanket. Dare I say. It is rather large, and I can totally see myself wearing this in the morning. It's still, you know, it's still winter here in Port Chester, New York. We've got melting snow outside. Winter's not going anywhere for quite some time, at least not for another month or so, even though spring is on the horizon. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I can totally see wearing this in the mornings because it's still chilly, and it's just so nice. It's so lovely. highly recommend this pattern, guys. The one modification that I did make, it's not major at all, but the bind off is picot, and in the instructions, maybe I missed it because I'm terrible at reading instructions. For some reason, I have a habit of like glazing over important details. I don't know, personal brand of crazy, but I will go over here. But yes, the binding is picot. It's really lovely, but in the instructions, from what I gathered, she says to bind off on the wrong side, and I'll pop a photo of it here. I wasn't happy with the way it was looking. It just looked kind of lumpy and bumpy and just wrong, so I ripped it out, and so I just knit a plain row on the right side, and then on the wrong side did the picot bind off, just to give it a little foundation, because I found the other way was just, yeah, I didn't like the way it was looking, so took matters into my own hands for that one. So yeah, but otherwise, she's done. She's done. I just have to photograph her, get her up on Ravelry, and Bob's your uncle. So anyway, let me stand up so you can see. Look, oh, lovely. It's lovely. Okay. We're done modeling? Yes? Okay. So next up, moving along, I have another finished object to share with you. These were a belated Valentine's Day gift for Dennis. I don't know if I shared this on the last episode. I did share these in my vlogs for channel members, so you guys are very well acquainted with this project. But one day I went to Michael's craft store, as you do. They had a sale on their yarn, and I picked up some Patons Kroy sock yarn. And guys, I am a huge fan of Patons Kroy sock yarn. I mean, as I say every time, this yarn will survive the apocalypse. It is not going anywhere. It can handle all manner of wear and tear, the wash, the tumble dryer. It is invincible yarn. So I'm always excited. You know, whenever I get the sock knitting bug, I will gravitate towards knitting with this yarn. Didn't finish them in time for Valentine's Day, but I finished them a day or two after and gifted them to him. And yeah, he has yet to wear them, but he loves them. He appreciates them. They fit him. It's great. And the pattern that I used is just a modified version of my favorite socks pattern. If you don't know, I have a free sock pattern. I'll link to it down below, but it's completely free. It's just my go-to recipe for knitting socks. It's a basic, you know, just 1x1 or 2x2 rib, top down, heel flap, turned heel, gussets situation. This one is modified only in that I replaced the heel flap with a Fish Lips Kiss heel by Socks Therapist. I will leave a link to that below, but this is my go-to heel usually because I have it memorized, and it's just a really nice fit. It fits Dennis's heel very well, it fits my heel very well, and again, I have it memorized. I do love a reinforced heel, but again, it's one of those patterns where I have to go back and refer to my numbers because depending which size you're knitting, the number at which you have to do short rows for the heel turn can vary. And also, the other reason why I went with the Fish Lips Kiss heel is because the stripes. With the reinforced heel and the heel turn, the stripes are going to get a little distorted and wishy-washy, if you will. So this kind of keeps the stripes organized and in their place, if you will. So yeah, we've got a pair of socks, and okay. So there we go. And in case you're curious, I did do a 72 stitch cast on magic loop US 1.5 2.5 millimeter needle. And that's my usual go-to sock knitting method to my madness, if you will. So yay, finished socks. So that said, I have a lot of projects left to be finished. I mean, yeah, again, I know I said in the beginning of the year I was going to go through all of my whips, all of my unfinished objects, and audit them, see what I'm going to finish, what I'm not going to finish. It never happened, guys. It never happened. Never happened. We're just going to swipe that under the rug and just let the chips fall where they may. It is getting a little toasty in here, so I'm just gonna fold this up nicely and pop you over here for now. But now that those projects are off the needles, let's talk about the projects that I am gonna focus on finishing in the coming weeks. So first up, let's talk about my Oslo hat, which is currently being housed in this pretty fantastic project bag. Can we talk about it? This was a gift from my friend Katie of Katydid bags, and guys, I have quite a few of her project bags, not just because she's my friend, but she does make the most wonderful, beautiful project bags. I mean, they're so well made. And can we talk about this one in particular? Guys, they look like Bella. They're little tiny Bellas frolicking in the field, rolling on her. This one, yes, this is Bella to a T. I mean, just, you know, guys, I love this bag so much. Katie, thank you so much. And by the way, she is actually launching a brand new, beautiful website over on katydidbags.com this Friday, February 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. She used to sell on Etsy, but is now branching off on her own. I'm so excited for her. So if you would like to get your mitts on one of these project bags, you know, don't walk, run to Katie's shop. Again, I will leave a link in the description box where you can find Katie on Instagram and a link to her shop and all the information down below in the description box, along with everything else that I mentioned in this episode. But yeah, thank you so much. This is awesome. But yes, it is currently housing a whip that I've been working on and off in between stuff, and that is my Oslo hat. The Oslo hat is a pattern by Petiteknit, and I'm almost to the point where I have to fold under the brim and then join the cast-on stitches to the live stitches. For a basic stockinette hat, there are a lot of structural elements to it, which I really appreciate and love. And last time I shared this on the channel, I forgot to mention that I am knitting, this yarn that I'm using is supposedly Aran weight. It's by the Fiber Co. It's called Aran and, let me see, where is it? Here you are. So this is the yarn that I'm using. It's called, oh, I'm sorry, the Fiber Co. and ampersand make Aran. So it's supposedly Aran weight, but I'm getting DK weight, sport weight vibes from it. It's not very thick yarn. So let me see. So yeah, I personally think this could pass for DK weight or sport weight yarn. So because the Oslo hat does call for DK weight yarn, I'm giving this yarn a pass. So I'm using this yarn and I'm marling it together with this beautiful mohair with stellina. And guys, the effect is very subtle. You can't really, I mean you can, but it's a very subtle effect, but I absolutely love the way it's knitting up together. It's gonna be so good, so good. So yeah, that is my Oslo hat by Petiteknit, and yeah, this is my new sock project. You know, it's totally an autopilot knit where I can just knit in the round. I'm using a US size 4 3.5 millimeter needle, 16-inch circular. The other project that I really want to focus on finishing is my home cardigan, and this is a pattern by Katydid, and I will never know if I am pronouncing that name correctly. I apologize if I butchered it. Here we are. This is where we last left off. We are currently on Sleeve Island, and this project stalled because I picked up the stitches around the arm side, and I'm not happy with the way I did that. Because the stitches around the arm side, there was no definitive stitch for me to really go into, if that makes any sense. You kind of had to eyeball it. It was like pick up and knit 2 stitches, skip 1 stitch, pick up and knit 2 stitches, and so on and so forth. And again, just the stitches along the armhole were just non-definitive. So it was a little tricky. So I did the best that I could, and I'm just not happy. I'm not happy with the results. So I'm gonna rip out and redo it. Yeah, so that's pretty much why this project stalled. But at the same time, I really do want this off the needle so I can enjoy it while the weather's still cool. The yarn is absolutely beautiful. I mean, this is yarn that I picked up from, again, Michael's craft store. I'm using marling, again. I'm all about the marl these days. I don't know what it is. I'm marling together 2 different types of Caron cake yarn. So we've got Caron cakes, cloud cakes. So really lovely, almost chenille-like yarn. So this is their cloud cakes in the graphite colorway, just a really nice warm gray, and crystal cakes. So this is the Starry Night color. And again, this yarn, I think they discontinued these 2 colorways. I was not able to find them. I was not able to find them online anywhere. Well, that's a lie. I was able to track down 2 more skeins of this on Amazon. I think it had a ship from the UK, which is crazy sauce. But, you know, I was able to find it and I needed it, so purchased it. And this one I wasn't able to find it. But anyway, I know I have enough to finish this cardigan and knit a pullover, which I do want to do because I am obsessed with this combination. It is so soft for polyester acrylic yarn. It's amazing. So that is where I am with that project. Yeah, so we're gonna focus on finishing the home cardigan. And I also have to track down some buttons. We need buttons for this cardigan, so anyway. Okay, we've got some quilting content this week that I'm very, very excited about. So last time I teased that I had been working on a top secret project for a top secret gift project for my cousin. I don't think that she watches this, but in the event that she is, Michelle, hello, if you are watching this, please go away. Please take a break. Or I will pop a timestamp down here where you can skip ahead because I don't want to give the surprise away. So I will wait. I will wait a couple minutes. Yes? Are you gone? Please be gone because I want this to be a surprise. Yes? Okay. All right. All right. We're gonna show some gifts. Okay. So my cousin, she is expecting in April and she's having a baby shower. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. So I got the idea in my head to make some baby quilts. So she already has a 2-year-old son and, you know, did not want to leave this child out of the equation. So I made 2 baby quilts, one for her 2-year-old son and one for her boy that she's expecting in April. So we've got quilts, and they are so stinking cute, guys. So, okay, what do I want to say about this? So I knew that I wanted to make 2 baby quilts, so I started browsing the internet for potential, you know, fabric that I could use, and I was on Missouri Star Quilt Company, as I usually am, and they had the perfect fabric for this project. It was a fat quarter bundle of 32 fat quarters. It was on sale actually, amazingly, and I basically, you know, it was an impulse purchase. I was like, this is perfect. I'm buying it. It's coming home to me, and I'm gonna make quilts out of these. But it was the ABC XYZ fat quarter bundle by names. Down bar. And I really love this fabric because it's kind of interactive, if you will. I mean, you know, you have some building blocks over here. You have what do you call those? An Arabacus thing. You have some animals. You got a walrus. Look how cute. And then there's also some more animals over here. So, and then also I love, love, love the word search. There's a word search right there. So, you know, as they get older, they can probably pick out some animal words from there. I love the lion, and then, I want to say these quilts are about 42 inches by 42 inches square, but it's a decent size. It's not too big, it's not too small. The pattern that I used for this is called 2x2, very, very appropriate since I'm making 2. It's the 2x2 quilt by It's So Emma. I will leave a link to that below as well. Just a really simple, easy pattern. It came together so quickly. I will fold this up and show you the second one. I mean, they're not identical twins, they're fraternal. Each one has like a different, binding. I gave this one a blue one, the other one has a yellow one. Here's the other one, so you can see. The only fabric that is not from the fat quarter bundle is the background fabric. So this one I procured from my local fabric shop. It's just a very basic, very light gray with triangles. So let's see, there's a fluff ball right there. And then, you can see the quilting job that I did on this. A very simple straight line situation, nothing fancy at all. Just basically all I did was use my walking foot and make a stitch line about 1/4 inch away from each seam, or most of the seams. Because I was making 2 of these quilts, I wanted to keep things very manageable and simple for myself. The other thing is that I, for the backing, I used flannel. And this is the first time that I've ever used flannel before. And, you know, I went to my local yarn shop or both yarn and fabric shop down the road, and, you know, picked the shop owner's brain. I said, hey, you know, I'm using flannel for the first time. Do you have any tips when it comes to quilting with it? And she advised washing it twice. And my goodness, was she correct, because I washed it twice. And I threw it in the tumble dryer each time. And the first time I pulled out the lint panel from the tumble dryer, I swear the lint was like a layer of like about 1.5 inches of just white fluff. It was ridiculous. But that being said, because I pre-washed the flannel, I also went ahead and pre-washed the main fabric as well, because flannel is a different kind of fabric compared to 100% quilting cotton. So, you know, when my cousin goes to wash this, when she goes to throw it in her washing machine, it's already going to be pre-shrunk. Nothing is going to warp. Nothing's going to be wonky when it comes out of the dryer. It's all going to shrink uniformly together now, if that makes sense. That being said, I know in previous episodes I touched on the topic of pre-washing fabric, and I did mention, along with many of the seasoned quilters in the comments section, mentioned that if you are working with different types of fabric, it is wise to always pre-wash to prevent crazy warping and shrinking from happening. So yeah, that's what I did. And I know I also said that it's not advisable to pre-wash pre-cuts because you run the risk of fraying the edges because you're working with smaller bits of fabric. But because I was working with fat quarters, they were big enough pieces of fabric where I could get away with it. I wasn't going to lose much integrity from from the piece of fabric. But I will say that when I did pull the fat quarters out of the dryer after having washed them, there was a situation. When I pulled it out of the dryer, all the fat quarters were joined together at this, it had like this solar system of thread, this wad of thread in the center. It was kind of like the Death Star of thread. I don't know what you want to call it, but anyway, I had to sit there cutting away all the fat quarters away from this giant mass of thread in the center. The next thing that had to happen, I had to iron each individual fat quarter. So yeah, ironing 32 fat quarters. Again, just pop on a podcast, an audiobook, and you know, let the time tick away. So anyway, yeah, all that to say that once all of that was taken care of, this came together so quickly, and I'm so happy with the way it turned out. And I truly, truly hope my cousin and her sons will enjoy these quilts. And they're super soft too. I really, you know, as much, I have to say, I'm not a fan of pre-washing fabric and will avoid it in the future if I can, but the flannel makes it worth it, I think. It's just so soft and so snuggly. And yeah, it was fun. It was, you know, easy to work with. I have no complaints there. The next thing that I have to figure out is, and I want your advice on this, guys, how should I go about signing this? I would like to sign this in some way, but at the same time, I don't know which blanket is going to go to which son, and I don't know what she's going to name her second son. So if you have any advice on how I should go about signing these quilts, how I should sign them, what wording I should use, I'm thinking something along the lines of "Made with love from cousin Kristin." But again, it's like I don't know which blanket is going to go to which son, and you know, maybe I don't put a name on here at all. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think I should do? Should I just leave them blank and sign them later? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. But yay, we have 2 quilts and I love them. Yeah, so that frees me up now to focus on quilting some quilt tops that need quilting. There's my shadow play quilt that I just finished. I showed that off on the last podcast. I've got my gift that the quilt that I'm gifting to my aunt that I have to finish. So I've got my work cut out for me. And I did purchase, it's over there in the corner, a giant bolt of batting from Joann. They had a major sale and I jumped on it because it was such a good deal. I actually used it to bat these guys and it's great. It's lovely. That, I believe, is the show. Thank you so much if you've made it this far for hanging out with me. If you haven't already and you're new here, feel free to like and subscribe down below. I'm putting out videos for your viewing pleasure every week. If you would like to support this channel and gain some extra bonus content from yours truly, consider becoming a member. There's a link to join down below this video and on the main page, and depending which tier you choose, you can gain access to my bonus vlogs, which I lovingly call waffles, where I just waffle on about what I'm up to life-wise, craft-wise, some behind the scenes stuff. I share projects that I don't always share on the main channel, so lots of fun tidbits to be had there. And no matter which tier that you join, you can get an invite to our private Facebook group, which is a really fun place to connect with other members of the channel, chat with me, share what you're working on. And before I let you guys go, just to remind you that we have our epic make-along underway. That is a year-long make-along where we're all endeavoring to make something epic. No matter what your craft is, you're welcome to join, and the whole idea behind it is to make something epic. No matter how big or small the project is, if it feels epic to you and you know that it's going to give you a sense of accomplishment by the end, join the make-along. Again, it's a year-long make-along. The deadline, the finish line is on January 1st, 2025. Come back to the next episode where I'm going to share a slideshow showcasing some of the beautiful projects that are being made as part of this make-along, and hopefully, inspire you if you're still thinking about, what you might want to make for this make-along. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to let you guys go. Again, thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, happy making, and I'll see you soon. Bye.